in the world characterized with gender inequality, this house would adopt an extreme feminist approach. Dear judges of today's debate, from the Save the Children and UNICEF, we define gender inequality as just the way how these people are organized in the way that is not fair. The way a woman, a man, a girl, and a boy are organized in the way that is unfair. And gender inequality, we don't simply mean that A is not equal to B. At this time, I'll talk about the gender equality for easy meaning. Gender equality is all about that all the people are getting what is needed and according to their ability to get that thing. That means that we are not going to, through the resolution, we are not going to look at that a man being that is able to carry 20-liter jerrycan, it will also be for a woman to carry a 20-liter jerrycan. It's not going to be like that. But we are looking at, is it sustainable? Is it what is supposed to be done according to the society, according to that person's strength? Dear judges of today's debate, we come and talk, we define adopt from the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary as to start to use a particular method. We are going to start to use a particular method, and this is extreme feminist approach, being it is defined as the support of belief that women should have the same opportunities as men. We are taking gender inequality to, dear judges of today's debate, it has been found out that in the world, at the globe, the main problem is gender inequality. This is the main problem causing discrimination of women, as we have come to look at the curb of discrimination. We very well accept that women have been discriminated as well as men, but who are majorly discriminated and who are finding it difficult to curb their discrimination? Because it is found out that men are having at least vigor to fight against their discrimination, being that they appear strong, being that they appear at a higher level than women, basing on the Save the Children's Act. Dear judges of today's debate, this resolution needs we as Team Affirmative to show why should the women be put at least an extreme hand to curb their discrimination. Why are we majorly looking at the women? That means that even Team Negative has to come up with a view of whom are we supposed to look at majorly to fight against the discrimination in the world, because we are taking our parameter as the globe. Dear judges of today's debate, countries like as Afghanistan, countries like Yemen and other more have been found of carrying out discrimination of women majorly, because it is a statistic that the problem is majorly at women level. Women are majorly discriminated. That means that we should put a higher hand to fight against this, because it has been found out that women of these countries have been found of being used as sexual objects in rebel groups, being that there are wars taking place in these areas. Article 33 in the Uganda National Constitution shows that women shall be accorded for they will be given equal shares with those of men, equal dignities. That shows that women shall be given exactly what will be given to men according to their ability, as it has been talked about. That means that I don't expect negators to come up and give that. Is a woman able to do this? Reason being of this. That means that we as Team Affirmative are saying that if at all a woman is able to carry out a particular work, for example, if at all a woman can take the ability of becoming a president of a given country, that means that a woman will become, that is what we call gender equality. But we are saying that if at all the society sees that a woman is not able to carry out these activities, that means that will not be given the ability to become, because it is social. It will be decided by the men and the women. Dear judges of today's debate, UBOS shows the mutilation of women in Uganda, showing that women have been discriminated majorly apart from the men. That means that being that women have been discriminated at high level, we are taking girls and the adult women, taking other sector for women, being that they have been discriminated more than all the men in Uganda. That means that we are looking at a way on the people to fight against
Honorable.
discrimination in Uganda. Thank you.
Time is up. Third negative, Q&A preparation time for cross-examination. How many minutes? 1.
How are you today, my dear Honorable?
Very good.
I would like to ask you a few questions, if you may comply.
Yeah.
Do you believe that extreme simply refers to the very great degree?
Very great degree. Yeah, we are taking women as
Do
a
you-
great degree.
Thank
We
you,
are
thank
taking
you,
it at a
thank you.
very great degree compared to other
Do you
sects.
I would like to move on to the next question.
Go.
Do you accept that Uganda is a victim for unhealthy domestic boring?
We are talking about who are
you
being
believe-
discriminated. I don't believe.
You don't believe?
Yeah.
Do you believe that something is being done to uplift the status of women in Uganda?
It is being uplifted, but it
Do
has
you
not been put
believe-
on hand.
Please, it's a yes or no question.
I do believe,
you
but it has
believe?
not been effective. We are putting a higher hand. We are putting a higher hand. We are putting effort on it, according to my case.
Okay, I would like to conclude with my last question.
Yes.
Do you believe that extreme approach is an extra cost on the national budget?
An extra cost. We do believe
Please
that.
answer yes or no.
Yeah, it is an extra.
Thank you very much. That's all for today.
The judges, the August House, and the two antagonistic bodies. A good afternoon to you all. Baranila Aksam, Pretoria, team negative. Resolved. In a world characterized with gender inequality, this house would adopt an extreme feminist approach. I would like to start with the cross-examination that has currently been witnessed at the stage. Two questions were passed to the side of the affirmers. We asked them, do you believe that something is being done to uplift the status of the women? They said yes. We further asked them, do you believe that extreme approach is an extra cost on the national budget? They said yes. I would like to start from there. For purposes of clarity, the affirmers failed to actually come here and emphasize on the meaning of the word extreme. I would like to stress, extreme, according to Google Dictionary, it simply means very great in degree. Very great in degree. What do I imply here? This corresponds with what we are saying. If there is a very great increment in the degree of something, this calls in for an extra cost. So what are we implying, we as the negators of tonight? Our stand is something so brief and precise. We are saying there is no room for extreme gender approach. There is no room for this. Since given the fact that the affirmers of tonight have accepted the fact that something is being done in response to gender imbalance, we don't have accountability for the success that has been done for this, then is there a need for an increment if we don't have the success? We don't have the accountability for what has been done? No, it is unrealistic. Why? Funds had already been allocated, and funds are still allocated. Why should we advocate for an increment, yet there is no proper accountability of what has been there? Back in the day, allow me to give the status quo. As of 1990, we had an EFA convention movement that was held in Thailand. This EFA convention movement, it consisted of 6 goals. I would like to stress 3 of them. 1, expand early child care, specifically to the girl child. 2, by 2015, all children, particularly the girls, have access to free compulsory education. Now, let's zero it down to Uganda as of the affirmative case. They came up here and said they accept the fact that something is being done in response to gender imbalance. They said something is being done in relation to feminist approach. Therefore, one of the examples that are actually the fruits from this convention that was held in Thailand, that was 1990, we are seeing the government coming up with policies such as the 1.5-point increment onto every new entrant at the university. Have we accounted for the success of this? Is there really a need for an extra degree? In other words, we are asking the affirmers, has there been anything, the fruits that have been realized out of this? They have not given us accountability. Therefore, there is no need, there is no room for this extreme. There is no room. Why? I would like to further stress. We as the farmers, we as the negators, we came up and asked these people here, they are farmers of tonight, we asked them that, is it true that Uganda is a victim of unhealthy borrowing? They said yes. I would like to give statistics. Yes, according to kiu.ac.ug, it clearly states that Uganda's debt burden exceeds 50% of the gross domestic product. This is unhealthy borrowing. Uganda recently, on the 21st March of 2020, Uganda acquired a debt of 6.8 trillion Ugandan shillings. Can you imagine? How unhealthy is this? Has there been accountability for this money? We are yet to realize. So in other words, why should the farmers come here and tell us that there is need for an extreme degree, and yet they have not yet given the accountability for what has already been given? In summary, we have many of the women liberation movements that have come up in Uganda. Now, we see, as I finalize, we see that these movements, they have actually failed. Why? Corruption, uncommittedness, unwillingness, all this. So, if we are to actually implement or imply an extra cost, if you are to give an extra hand to these people, whereby we are still having the challenges of corruption, unhealthy borrowing, sincerely speaking, is this realistic? It is not. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we saying? We as the negators, we are advocating for the fact that there should be proper accountability for what is already there in response to gender approach. I rest my case.
Question number 1. Do you consent with the UN SDGs, of which Uganda is among, and they're supposed to be achieved by 2030 from the UN signatories?
Yes.
You consent. Thank you so much. Do you believe that women are the most do you believe that women are the most marginalized ones in the societies?
Yes.
You consent. Thank you so much. Question number 3. Do you believe in gender equality?
Yes.
You believe?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you consent with the report from the World Bank that women are less in the job sectors and even in the employment sectors in the whole country?
No.
You disagree?
Yes.
You disagree?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Another question. You talked about some efforts being made by the government to uplift the status of women in Uganda and even in the whole world. Okay? Has it been a failure?
Yes, it has been a failure.
Okay. I rest my case.
Resolved, in a world characterized with gender inequality, this House will adopt an extreme feminist approach. So here what we mean is that there are things that have been done to stop gender inequality, to stop gender discrimination. But what we're trying to say is we are going to put an extreme hand to ensure that gender inequality, the gender discrimination is taken care of. And that's where my first speaker came and talked about. Developing a written policy that defines procedures and rules. He talked about putting a policy that helps women to be given what they're supposed to be given. Then he talked about another point. He talked about guidance and counseling. It's like we don't have enough counselors in schools. It's like we can say we have guidance and counseling that they're not enough to make sure that they are guided and they are counseled. So what we are going to do to put an extreme hand, we are going to add on counselors to make sure that women are given what they're supposed to be given. Then my first speaker talked about the SDGs. For us, we are mainly talking about, there are 17 SDGs, but we are mainly talking about the 5th SDG and the 10th SDG. Where the 5th SDG, which is Sustainable Equal Development Goals, talked about gender equality. Then the SDG 10 talked about gender inequality. So here we are here mainly to talk about, it's not about gender equality. Like my first speaker said, that where a man If a man can take 2 jerrycans, that means a woman can also take 2 jerrycans. If a man is given food in this way, that means a woman is supposed to be given food in this way. We talk about ability. If a man can take 2 jerrycans, that means the man has the ability to take 2 jerrycans. But if a woman only has the ability to take 1 jerrycan, then what is the need to stop that woman from taking the 1 jerrycan? Which means we're talking about women should be given the right to do what they are able to do. But you're not talking about women to be given the right to do what they are not able to do. Like a woman can give birth, but a man cannot give birth. So you can't say that you give the woman the right to impregnate a woman, which is not even sensible. So we are only saying that a woman should be given something which is able to do, which means that we are only talking about the rights of women where they're supposed to be done. So we are here talking about the first speaker on the negative side. He talked about there is no room for improvement. But for us to hear him, they say that there is room for improvement, whereby we are going to put extreme hand because here they are trying, but people have failed. We have put places, we have put there are groups that have fought for feminism, there are groups that fought for women, but they are not strong enough to make sure that these rules are followed, whereby we are going to face on education, counseling, as my first speaker talked about. We are going to put in counseling, whereby these women are counseled on how they're supposed to take on their responsibility. Education at all levels, where we give them guidance and what's supposed to be done. My first speaker, as he talked about, he said that you are going to make sure that you work with our authorities, whereby we advise women on what is supposed to be done. Whereby we have, like the example of Ugandan law, in a political law, whereby a man has 70% of political to apply for a political post, but a woman has 30% to apply for the political post. Yes, we have women who have the ability to apply for the 20% remaining for women, which means that for us, what we are fighting for is for them to be given the 20%, which they have the ability to take care of. Because if you're saying that women are going to be 30% and men are going to give in 30%, that means you're meaning that a woman does not have the ability to use the 20%, yet they are capable of using the 20% remaining, which you are not given to. Now we come here and, sorry for a minute. Thank you. Then we come here and they talk about a lot of things, and they talk about why a woman should be put on extreme hands. We have had cases where women are discriminated, like in South, like my first speaker talked about, Yemen and Afghanistan, where women are not given the right to do something that they are capable to do. There are another post of Standing Bank, where women are working the same place as men, but they are paid less. So what I'm saying is these people should come on our side, because I think we have won the debate. Thank you very much.
A good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I would like to pass a few questions to your side.
Welcome.
Perhaps I would require you to give me precise answers.
Sorry?
I would like you to give me precise answers.
Okay, go on.
Yes. Do you believe that something is being done to uplift the status of the women in Uganda?
Just like my first speaker
Yes
said, and just
or
I
no?
emphasized
It's a yes or no?
that it is being done, but it's not effective.
It's a yes or no, please.
My first speaker told you.
For sanity in the environment, it's a yes or no.
I told you, my first speaker said.
Next question.
Exactly.
Do you believe that extreme approach is an extra cost on the national budget?
Yes, we accepted the extreme cost.
Thank you very much. Further, do you believe that really these policies have already been implemented?
But they're not effective.
They're not effective.
It's just like we
Thank you
based
very
on, they're
much.
not effective, but they're
Thank you very
implemented. So we are
much.
trying to make them effective by putting an extreme hand on them.
Further.
You should understand
Further.
that properly, very well.
Further, how do you plan to establish your policies without them getting affected by the...
Were you even listening to the first speaker?
My question is not yet complete.
Were you even listening to the
You
first speaker?
respond to my questions.
Exactly, continue.
How do you plan to establish your policies without them getting affected by the unhealthy borrowing that is experienced
What
in
do you mean
Uganda?
by that? Unhealthy borrowing. What do you mean by that? Can you even
Unhealthy
explain a
borrowing.
question that you're trying to ask?
It is me to ask.
Exactly, but you're not emphasizing on the question.
Judges, I hope they are taking notice. Yes, do you believe the fact that 6.8 trillion Ugandan shillings was obtained
Obtained from where?
as a debt from domestic market?
I don't believe it.
You don't
Because you
believe
brought it
it?
as a statistic.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Do you accept the fact that there is corruption in the country?
Of course, corruption is. In every country, it is there. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can you account Time up. I rest my case.
Thank
You very much.
The judges, the two antagonistic sides, and the August House. Good afternoon. Resolved, in a world characterized with gender inequality, this House would adopt an extreme feminist approach. Shanice Pretty, Team Pretoria, second negator. Before I go any further, I would like to pass on our questions that have not been answered to our satisfaction from the affirmative team. The first affirmer, during cross-examination, he was asked a question that, do you believe that something is being done about gender inequality? He accepted. Then, why is the second affirmer contradicting with that? Then we also posed the question and we asked that, do you believe, from the first affirmer, that do you believe that this extreme feminist approach needs funding? He accepted. Then the second affirmer came and contradicted. Furthermore, I would like to go back to the cross-examination questions that came from the affirmative side. They were saying that the World Bank considers women as left out in the job sector. Where are the statistics? We need accountability. We need accountability that these women are left out in the job sector. Our stand, we as the negators, are saying that there is no room for extreme feminist approach. Why? There is no proper accountability for the reparations that have been put before. The affirmers, as we have observed, have no clear sources of information. We have not had any. But we, the negators, say that according to info.com, women have been given rights and freedom to things like freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of choice. Trust me, I can give you your rights, I can tell you how to use them, but I won't force you to use them. Then, extreme means very great in degree. It is at a very high level. They accepted that the extreme feminist approach needs funding from the government, which has no funds. To elaborate this more, we would like to give you statistics that says, taking Uganda as an example, Uganda's debt burden exceeds 50% of the gross domestic product ceiling. 21st March 2020, the government acquired from the domestic market a debt of 6.8 trillion, which is more than 1% of the gross domestic product. This is unhealthy borrowing. We as the negators say that we need to make practical investments. The country needs to make practical investments. We can't keep on borrowing money and putting it into something that has not been accounted for the progress, that we have no hope of progressing. We have no accountability of the things that have been put before. So we can't keep on adding more money, investing more money in these liberations to support extreme feminist approach when there has not been any accountability for what has been there before. And I see that if we keep on funding, we would be bringing about more problems. We'll be solving gender inequality, but bringing poverty in the country, which is also not bringing any good to the country. A feminist is a person who supports the belief that women have equal rights as men. But I think the affirmers are contradicting with the same definition they gave us. And as I conclude, I would like to emphasize our stand as the negators, as we are saying that there is no room for extreme feminist approach. Why? There is no proper accountability for the liberations that have been put before to address gender inequality. I rest my case.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
You talk about gender inequality, saying that you are not ready to give funds to stop gender inequality, yet it has been put on funds. Then, do you agree to the fact that being gender inequality is one of the things causing poverty in different countries of the world. Do you agree that gender inequality, being that these people are not getting that sustainable activities, they are not getting the vision of achieving their habilitations, is leading to the poverty line of different countries in the world?
No, because there is no proof of that.
You don't believe.
Yes, we don't.
That means that you talked about the funding, that the funds are not enough. Then if you say that there is no money, then how are you trying to mean that you should let these activities go on? You should let the activities of gender inequality go on because you don't have money in Uganda?
So, as we say that
Yes.
it is unhealthy borrowing because
Yes.
you're asking funds
You
from
are-
the same government that does not have money. Where do you expect
Listen.
it to get money? It does not have the money.
Does that mean that you accept that we should continue with the extreme?
I rest my case.
The judge, my worthy opponents, plus the August House. Congratulations to the women of Uganda for the great work done, plus the government of Uganda, to uplift the status of women. In today's resolution, we are talking about uplifting the status of women in Uganda today. The negators of today have come out and clearly shows that indeed women should continue to be marginalized because they are our mothers, and it's the reason to why we are here standing. So if we cannot stop the marginalization of women in Uganda, then what do you think should be done? My speaker number one talked about gender inequality at the order of that day, and women being the most vulnerable ones. We clearly know that women are vulnerable, and they are being discriminated judges. So I become puzzled when I see a strong woman from the negative side clearly saying that something has been done. But why do you still looking at women being marginalized in Uganda? For us, we clearly come and say that do they believe that, from gross examination, they said that do you believe that something has been done on gender equality? It was a yes. Yes, it has been done, but we need implementations, as he talked about it. Because yes, you are giving 1.5 points, but remember, these people need to be addressed on how things are supposed to be done. We have the Paris development models. If people cannot be sensitized on how they're supposed to be utilized, then it will be null and void. Another thing, as Team Affirmative, we said that women should be considered. We talked about conservative societies, for example, where women are the epitomes of gender-based discrimination. We gave so many examples, and we clearly, we stood on it, saying that indeed something should be done. And that's why we came up with a plan on feminist activities. Another thing, through the debate, my speaker talked about Article 21, about discrimination. Something, yes, is in place, but implementation matters. Sensitization matters to end the injustices against the women in Uganda. We strongly stand that, yes, there are those feminist activities, but they are lacking. They are even put down to that drill. Another thing, as I summarized, they talked about the costs, that this is becoming a burden to the country. But this is the thing that needs to be addressed. Then if we cannot mend about the women, then what do you think we are going to talk about? Now, this is a national matter about the women. And our women are very weak, as we said, but something needs to be done on them to make sure that at least they also live a decent life. My second speaker, from cross-examination, actually, it has been roaming around, and their speaker consented to the SDGs, number 5 and number 10, about gender-based discrimination and even reduced inequalities, number 10, from the UN. It was asked, and they say that, yes, we agree. Then what do you think should be done? That's why, if we want to reduce inequalities, feminist activity should be put in position. Feminist activity needs to be implemented in the country so that this goal is achieved by 2030. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, Team Affirmative strongly says that feminist activity should be in position. And that's why we take today's resolution. I rest my case.
Agonistic sides, the house at large, a good afternoon to all of you. As this resolution has been of great merit, we would like to place our disappointment towards the affirmative team who have failed to come up with reasonable conclusions to this resolution. First of all, the last affirmer, the third affirmer, has come up here and talked about sensitization. As they have said in cross-examination, sensitization has already been carried out. They have said something is being done to promote gender equality in the society. As we have said that sensitization is being done, is already being carried out. But what is the accountability of this sensitization, dear ladies and gentlemen? We do not know how it has worked. They have failed to give us a status quo for how this has been working. As the affirmers have come up here with their fallacies, intoxicating as they have been, we as the affirmers still state that as kiu.sc.ug, as our source of information, as far as 21st March 2020, Uganda acquired a loan of 6.8 trillion Ugandan shillings. The extreme feminism will bring about. The second affirmer clearly came up here and said that they believe that there is room for improvement. But what are you going to use for this improvement? You clearly have not stated the status quo of your whole argument. As the affirmer has clearly stated that he believes, I would like to define what a belief is. A belief is acceptance that something exists or is real without proof. As they fail to give us proof, we believe that they do believe. But as the affirmers, we clearly state that there is no room for extreme approach, simply because we have the following inquisitions in society. We have unhealthy loans. They have not told us of how they are going to solve the unhealthy loans. They have not told us of how they are going to solve the corruption that is limiting the development that is also being brought about these movement groups, these gender liberation groups. They have failed to rebut the point of unhealthy borrowing. They have not told us a way forward. They've not given us a way forward to how they are going to solve the unhealthy borrowing that is already there. 6.8 trillion Ugandan shillings that have not been paid. They have not yet been paid as far as 2022 is concerned. But they want to increase more on this. They want to bring about more on this, which will literally bring about the undergrowth of our development. We don't have any source of information from their farmers. They have clearly not given us any clear source of information. They've just come up here and proven and stated their fallacies with no proof. We clearly still doubt that there is no room for extreme approach. We are not going against the feminism, but we are going against the extreme feminism because we believe there is no room for it. As they have stated during the cross-examination that something has been done about the discrimination in Uganda. They have not stated the accountability of these activities. They have not told us how helpful they've been. They have not told us how the limitations that are there, which is corruption and unhealthy loans, are going to be solved. You cannot bring about the increment when you have not yet solved those things that are limiting what is already there. What is already there is being limited by these factors. They have not told us of how they are going to establish. As the negators, we still state that there is no room for extreme approach. 1 minute. As the affirmers, as the negators, we still clearly state that there is no room for extreme approach. There is no room for extreme approach. and we clearly state that we should not look for something higher when we have not yet listed the accountability of what is already there. I remain as Fahad, forever hold my peace.